Thousands of years ago, the world-ending war launched by the Extraterritorial Evil Clan was ostensibly aimed at conquering the Great Thousand Worlds and lower-dimensional realms. To most powerful beings, such an all-out assault on existence was merely an amplified version of the conflicts between superpowers. However, Lin Dong could faintly sense that the schemes of the Extraterritorial Evil Clan, a race so out of place in the Great Thousand Worlds, were far more terrifying than most warriors anticipated. An important piece of information he acquired during the Great Thousand meeting confirmed for him the two major objectives behind the Extraterritorial Evil Clan's initiation of the world-ending war. The first goal was to merge the Great Thousand Worlds with the Extraterritorial Worlds, and even the lower dimensions to create a complete domain world. The second was to erase all the pathwalkers existing within the Great Thousand Worlds and lower dimensions. The ultimate evolution of these two objectives was that within this complete domain world, the Extraterritorial Evil Clan would become the invincible overlords. Lin Dong knew that he, along with Yin, who had both mastered the technique of the sacred drum, had now likely been marked as high-priority eradication targets by the Extraterritorial Evil Clan. This weighed heavily on him and had been the reason for his somber demeanor. Lin Dong had come to the Great Thousand Worlds in search of Yin Huan, hoping to find even a fragment of reincarnation. His current endeavor to build a power and enhance his own strength was aimed at ensuring that, one day, he could legitimately retrieve Ice Huan from the Ice Spirit Clan. By then, the entire Ice Spirit Clan would be unable to stop him. Ultimately, Lin Dong simply wanted to become stronger than the Ice Spirit Clan, so that he could genuinely protect this girl. Although the Ice Spirit Clan was formidable and could offer her substantial protection, he desired the ability to protect her himself. With a wry smile, Lin Dong reflected that in the heavenly mystic dimension, he had pushed himself to the ancestral realm to safeguard Yin Huan. Now, in the Great Thousand Worlds, he needed to achieve an even higher status, the Earth Supreme. But now that he had caught the attention of the Extraterritorial Evil Clan, Lin Dong recognized that he was no longer only facing the Ice Spirit Clan. He was up against the entire Extraterritorial Evil Clan. As Lin Dong sank into his desperate thoughts, the true Dragon Emperor and Long Luzi exchanged glances, seemingly grasping what was troubling him. "I'm sorry, Senior Dragon Emperor, but I can't ascertain what two paths you've walked," Lin Dong said, lifting his head slightly as he spoke to the true Dragon Emperor. However, the true Dragon Emperor simply smiled and replied, "Haha, there are many things I'm not in a rush to learn. But you, if your deductions are correct, might find yourself in considerable danger now." Sigh. I hear from Luzi that the Extraterritorial Clan is becoming increasingly restless. I think the next world-ending war won't be far off. The true Dragon Emperor sighed deeply. He continued, "The future of the Great Thousand Worlds relies on you rising talents. All we old-timers can do is invest our efforts in you. Since that's the case, may I make a request?" Lin Dong asked the true Dragon Emperor. "What request?" According to ancient records of the world-ending war, there were 10 super-strong beings who played pivotal roles in that conflict. My request is to learn detailed information about those 10 super-strong beings from you, Senior Dragon Emperor. After all, you were there during that era, and as the true Dragon Clan's Emperor, acquiring this information shouldn't be too difficult for you, Lin Dong explained. "Haha, I see what you're driving at," the true Dragon Emperor chuckled. "You probably think that among these 10 strong beings, there are others who walk the path like the sacred drum Heavenly Sovereign and I, right? Yes. Since the Extraterritorial Clan is wary of those walking the path, what we should do now is to continue these legacies. This Tao transmission should reside within the remnants of those strong beings," Lin Dong reasoned. "Given time, if someone can reach the end of these paths, we will understand what the Extraterritorial Evil Clan truly fears. Your line of thought is sound, but these paths are not something just anyone can tread. You, having already stepped onto the sacred drum path, should understand this," the true Dragon Emperor said, looking at Long Luzi beside him. "Luzi, the information he seeks should be recorded in our clan's ancient texts, right?" Upon hearing this, Long Luzi nodded. His eyes slowly closed, and at the same time, the spiritual energy around him began to surge. Following his will, it gathered in front of Lin Dong into a black jade tablet. Inside this jade tablet was engraved the memory of Long Luzi about the 10 greatest super experts. Buzz. The black jade tablet took shape and looked exactly like a real object. It then landed in Lin Dong's hand. After receiving the memory jade tablet, Lin Dong immediately crushed it. Afterward, waves of information rapidly gathered in his mind. This was the information of the 10 greatest super experts of the ancient era. Fire Spirit Heavenly Sovereign, the ancient leader of the Fire Spirit clan, considered one of the 10 greatest super experts. His cultivation reached the perfected Earth Supreme level, and he even self-cultivated the true flame physique, ranked 5th among the Dharmakayas. In the battle against the Extraterritorial Evil Clan, he was surrounded by a great sacred emperor and nearly 30 heavenly emperors. He killed 21 heavenly emperors before falling millions of miles away from the Fire Spirit continent. Prior to this, no evil clan expert had ever stepped into the Fire Spirit clan's territory within millions of miles. Eternal Undying Heavenly Emperor, the Lord of the Undying Divine Hall, considered one of the 10 greatest super experts. His cultivation reached the perfected Earth Supreme level, and he cultivated the Eternal Undying Body, ranked 4th among the Dharmakayas. In the world-ending war, he perished with a great sacred emperor and 2 sacred emperors of the Extraterritorial Evil Clan. Sacred Drum Heavenly Sovereign, not affiliated with any sect or force, considered one of the 10 greatest super experts. His cultivation reached the Upper Earth Supreme level. He did not cultivate a Dharmakaya, but instead wielded the Sacred Drum Heavenly technique to control the world. He is known for erasing over 20 heavenly emperors and ultimately fell into an ambush by the Extraterritorial Evil Clan at the place known as Blast Membrane. Pagoda Sacred King, the king of the ancient Pagoda God Clan, considered one of the 10 greatest super experts. His cultivation reached the Lower Earth Supreme level. He controlled the Pagoda Divine Tower and the 2 instruments suppressing God's seal. He once set up a vast spiritual array at the edge of the Blast Membrane, slaying dozens of extraterritorial heavenly emperors and hundreds of extraterritorial earth emperors. He later ventured alone into the Extraterritorial Evil Clan's territory and disappeared without a trace. True Dragon Divine Emperor, the ancient leader of the True Dragon Clan, considered one of the 10 greatest super experts. His cultivation reached the perfected Earth Supreme level, and he was the master of the Dragon Codex. During the world-ending war, he killed 8 heavenly emperors of the Extraterritorial clan. However, he was slain by a fatal strike from the Extraterritorial clan, his consciousness and power completely severed. Ice God Heavenly Sovereign, the ancient leader of the Ice God clan, considered one of the 10 greatest super experts. His cultivation reached the Upper Earth Supreme level. He was the second master of the Ice God Tablet and was said to possess 2 heavenly souls. During the world-ending war, he was surrounded by nearly 30 extraterritorial heavenly emperors and was the first among the 10 super experts to fall. Dragon Phoenix Divine Emperor, the leader of the alliance between the ancient True Dragon and True Phoenix clans, considered to be in the top 3 of the 10 greatest super experts. His cultivation reached the perfected Earth Supreme level. His true form was the fusion of a True Dragon and True Phoenix, a 6th-tier primordial Dharmakaya known as the Dragon Phoenix Body. He perished with a great sacred emperor of the Extraterritorial clan during the world-ending war. Panga Heavenly Sovereign, the Lord of the Panga Divine Hall in the ancient Lower Dimension Alliance, considered one of the 10 greatest super experts. His cultivation reached the perfected Earth Supreme level. He controlled the 3rd-tier primordial Dharmakaya, Pango True Form, and the Primordial Flame, ranked 4th on the 100 million flames ranking. With these, he slew a sacred emperor and 7 heavenly emperors of the Extraterritorial clan. During the world-ending war, he was struck by a black hole attack from the Extraterritorial clan, which shattered his true form, and Pango Heavenly Sovereign himself vanished into smoke. The Primordial Flame also disappeared without a trace. Moke Heavenly King, the ancient leader of the Imoku God clan, considered one of the 10 greatest super experts. His cultivation reached the Upper Earth Supreme level. He controlled the Great Light of Imoku and the Mixed Divine Sword. During the world-ending war, he killed 2 sacred emperors of the extraterritorial clan, but after being ambushed by a great sacred emperor, he was severely wounded. After the war, he entered meditation and passed away. Upper Spirit King, a powerful figure from the ancient lower dimension, solitary and elusive. He was considered one of the 10 greatest super experts. His cultivation reached the lower Earth supreme level. During the world-ending war, he killed a great sacred emperor and a sacred emperor of the extraterritorial clan. Afterward, he disappeared from the Great Thousand Worlds for unknown reasons. The information continued to flood Lin Dong's mind. These details were the legendary accounts of the ancient 10 greatest super experts. Each one was filled with content that made Lin Dong's heart race in shock. Was this the ancient era's 10 greatest super experts? Such legendary figures were almost beyond his belief. However, just as Lin Dong thought he had gathered all the information about the 10 super experts, 2 more pieces of information appeared in his mind, causing his brow to furrow. Primordial Divine Ancestor, a legendary existence beyond the Earth's supreme level, revered as an ancestor by the Primordial Divine Clan, alongside the ancestor of 10,000 spirits, one of the 2 supreme existences. Other information is unclear. Ancestor of 10,000 spirits, a legendary existence beyond the Earth's supreme level, revered as an ancestor by the Myriad Spirit Divine Clan, alongside the Primordial Divine Ancestor, one of the 2 supreme existences. Lin Dong slowly opened his eyes after scanning the information that emerged in his mind. However, his thoughts were still focused on the list of the top 10 super powerful beings, and he was puzzled by one thing. Why were there 12 titles among the top 10? Wait, there are 12 in the top 10 super powerful beings? Lin Dong's first question upon opening his eyes was this. You're referring to the last 2 names, aren't you? The Primordial Divine Ancestor and the Ancestor of 10,000 Spirits? Hearing Lin Dong, Long Luzi said, there's a folk classification of the top 10 super powerful beings, but in the Primordial God Clan and the 10,000 Spirit God Clan, there are more accurate rankings. The folk method ranks them based on their pivotal roles in the world-ending war, while the 2 divine clans rank them based on their known hard power. Then, what about the true Dragon Divine Emperor among these top 10 super powerful beings? Lin Dong asked in surprise, looking at the true Dragon Emperor before him. Although he had an idea, he still needed to confirm. It's me. The true Dragon Emperor confirmed Lin Dong's guess directly, saying, in the evaluation of all the warriors in the world-ending war, there are 4 levels. The highest is the decisive level, followed by the reversal level, then the restraining level, and finally, the accumulation level. The 2 divine ancestors are at the decisive level, while the other top 10 super powerful beings, including the ancestors, are at the reversal level. Any other beings in the Great Thousand Worlds who have achieved heavenly supreme status and have significant achievements, like heavily injuring or killing a heavenly emperor, are considered restraining level. As for those below this level, they are in the accumulation level, Long Luzi explained. Hiss. Upon hearing this from Long Luzi, Lin Dong gasped in surprise. According to Long Luzi's classification, anyone who did not reach the heavenly supreme level during the ancient world-ending war was merely part of the cannon fodder. This made the world-ending war seem incredibly terrifying. However, after this thought, Lin Dong took a deep breath and slowly stood up, bowing to both the true Dragon Divine Emperor and Long Luzi. I've learned most of what I wanted to know. Since that's the case, I will no longer disturb the Dragon Emperor, Lin Dong said to the true Dragon Divine Emperor as he stood, knowing it was time for him to leave. Do you know what you should do next? The true Dragon Divine Emperor asked as Lin Dong stood up. Now, you are probably a thorn in the side of the extraterritorial clans, so before you gain the ability to protect this world, you must first possess the strength to protect yourself. Lin Dong nodded. He naturally wouldn't stop here. At least, his steps wouldn't stop until he surpassed the Ice Spirit clan. After that, anyone who tried to take Huan from him would be surpassed one by one, even if they were from the extraterritorial clans. He wouldn't fear them. Since you, like me, are on the path of the Great Way, then we are destined to cross paths. So before you leave, I will give you a few words and a bit of fate. The true Dragon Divine Emperor said with a faint smile. Dragon Emperor, I have already offended the true dragon clan by entering here without permission. I dare not accept this so-called fate, Lindong said, slightly surprised. Forget it. I have been dead for tens of thousands of years. It is a miracle that my consciousness can still persist until now. But with this speed of decline, I will dissipate completely within the next few hundred years. When exactly, we cannot predict. Maybe tomorrow, the true Dragon Divine Emperor said to Lindong. So now, all I can do is pass on all that remains of me to you, the younger generations. Originally, these gifts were meant for the true Dragon Clan. But since you, too, are a traveler of the Great Way, you will have the chance to receive some of what I leave behind. I know from Lucy that you first came to the Great Thousand Worlds for a woman, right? Upon hearing this, Lindong was stunned for a moment, then nodded and said, She has done so much for me. So what I want now is to bring her back from the Ice Spirit Clan. Do you not need strength? The true Dragon Divine Emperor asked Lindong. Upon hearing this, Lindong gritted his teeth and said, I do need it. Since you need it, remember these few words I am about to give you, the true Dragon Divine Emperor said. I am all ears, Lindong replied. First, you must remember, as you walk the Great Way, your purpose is not just for the ones you love. Your responsibility should not be confined to just a few people, the true Dragon Divine Emperor said. Upon hearing these words, Lindong nodded in understanding. He did not respond directly to the true Dragon Divine Emperor, but the latter's words had already been deeply imprinted in his heart. Lindong understood that the past approach of sacrificing an entire world for one person seemed insignificant in the presence of a pioneer like the true Dragon Divine Emperor, who poured every drop of his blood to protect every inch of land. These are the words I wish to impart to you. However, I know that it is difficult for you to take on the responsibility of protecting the world for your entire life at this moment. After all, there is still a knot in your heart that has not been unraveled. The true Dragon Divine Emperor said, referring to the knot in Lindong's heart, which naturally came from Huan. After speaking, the true Dragon Divine Emperor gestured to the side, and at the same time, a voice echoed from the golden dragon pillar. Lucy, give him the power needed to open his heart. Understood. Upon hearing this, Long Lucy nodded. Then, in Lindong's line of sight, he slowly stood up. Immediately, a wave of energy, too fast for Lindong to react to, enveloped the space. Buzz. A mysterious and ethereal wave of energy, as if it controlled the very heavens and earth, expanded from within Long Lucy's body at a speed faster than Lindong could react. When Lindong finally regained his senses, he realized that the wave had spread throughout the entire dragon space. As he processed the energy, he quickly understood what it was. It was the power of world control from a heavenly supreme-level expert. Thank you, Senior Dragon King, for your help. When the true Dragon Divine Emperor was about to bestow a divine gift upon Lindong, who was from outside the Dragon Clan, Lindong respectfully said, I will protect this world. Though Lindong's words seemed simple, they carried a resolve that only someone like the true Dragon Divine Emperor, who had walked the path of the Great Tao, could truly understand. Whether it was Huan, the heavenly mystic dimension, or the Great Thousand Worlds, he would protect them all. Lindong, are you ready? As Lindong made his decision, Long Lucy smiled at him. Upon seeing this smile, Lindong understood that, in the absence of the true Dragon Divine Emperor's power, it was Long Lucy who would carry out this so-called divine ritual. However, Lindong still did not know what the nature of this divine ritual was. Let this be a debt I owe to the true Dragon Clan. If the true Dragon Clan ever needs help from the martial realm in the future, I will do my utmost to assist. Lindong said. Very well. As Lindong's resolute words spread through the air, Long Lucy, standing opposite him, maintained his smile, but his gaze slowly narrowed. A dragon's pressure, nearly explosive in its intensity, suddenly burst forth from within Long Lucy's body. The dragon's pressure emanating from Long Lucy quickly surrounded Lindong, and Lindong felt the space around him gradually warp and then collapse. Everything became blurred, and when he regained his senses, he found himself in an entirely different place. Though still within the dragon's space, This new location was tens of thousands of miles away from the Golden Dragon Pillar. This was the edge of the dragon's space. Having been transferred directly by Long Luzi to this distant place, Lin Dong slightly raised his head and looked ahead. In the far distance, he saw the Golden Dragon Pillar, which stood in the center of this space. As Lin Dong gazed at it, the dense spiritual energy in the surrounding heavens and earth began to surge. Rumble. The spiritual energy surged and gathered in front of Lin Dong, forming a pathway of spiritual energy about several hundred feet wide. The energy road, which stretched tens of thousands of miles, was strikingly similar to the power of a heavenly supreme expert's control over the world, though it was even more solid and firm. This energy road led directly to the Golden Dragon Pillar in the distance. As the energy road formed, Long Luzi's voice echoed through the dragon's space. Step onto this path and walk back from where it leads. However, just as Lin Dong prepared to step onto the energy path, in a world hundreds of billions of miles away from this great thousand world, someone who had been plotting was stirred. This was one of the ancestral spaces of the extraterritorial races, the Demon Ancestor Space. Within the Demon Ancestor Space, a figure surrounded by white light sat quietly before a black light screen. As the figure observed the scene within the light screen, he appeared quite troubled. He felt that things had already gone beyond his expectations. What was once a minor issue was now growing out of control due to his oversight. This young man, his name is Lin Dong, right? The voice came from behind the figure, and with it, the black figure of the Demon Ancestor appeared. Like the figure before him, the Demon Ancestor was also closely watching Lin Dong's situation within the dragon's space. Demon Ancestor, at this rate, he will only stray further from his path, the figure said. After touching upon the great Tao left behind by the sacred drum Heavenly Sovereign, this person still wishes to explore other Taos. It's too dangerous. The Tao is right in front of him. Then what can we do? The Demon Ancestor replied, that space is under the control of the ancestor of 10,000 spirits. We cannot act. We'll have to wait, just wait a little longer, the Demon Ancestor said. But Demon Ancestor, don't we need to try something? We can't wait forever. The Tao is right before his eyes, the figure urged. The Demon Ancestor was still hesitating. It wasn't that he couldn't act, nor that he was afraid to act, but he knew that the success rate of his intervention was too low, almost less than 1 in 100,000. For dominators like them, who prioritized concealment and efficiency, such an attempt was simply not worth making. Follow his lead, give it a try. Just as the Demon Ancestor hesitated, a voice came from beside him, and then another extraterritorial ancestor emerged. This was the Slaughter Ancestor. His appearance raised the success rate from 1 in 100,000 to 1 in 1,000.